I'm Johnny Millennium, this is Victor Lucas, and this is Film Fury. And today we're going to review Mother with Jennifer Lawrence, Javier Bardem, Ed Harris, and Michelle Pfeiffer. But just before that, we want to thank our friends at the VFS School of Film. Okay, we just walked out of the theater, we just set up the cameras. Let's talk about this movie.
This is probably the hardest review we'll ever do. This was such a mindfuck of a movie. It was such a crazy film to see. Nothing can kind of really prepare you for what you're going to experience in this movie.
No spoilers, because like, I walked in, I had no idea what this was about. I'm like, oh, it's about a mother. This will be maybe a nice story, Vic.
Nice love story with Javier Bardem and Jennifer Lawrence having this idyllic relationship in the countryside. This
living in this beautiful house.
Yeah, beautiful big farmhouse that Jennifer Lawrence has kind of rebuilt, and Javier Bardem is this poet, this writer, and they just look like they're having this beautiful sort of in the countryside kind of, you know, mutually supportive relationship. And boy, does it devolve and break down from there in all kinds of really crazy ways.
I have never, and I can honestly say, I've seen a lot of independent movies, and it's got a very independent movie vibe.
Yes, that's
from
Darren.
The same director who did Black Swan.
Yeah, Darren Aronofsky, yes.
Requiem for a Dream.
Yes.
So you kind of know what you're
The
walking
Wrestler.
into. Well, The Wrestler as well, with Mickey Rourke was really, really good. And I can honestly say I have never seen a movie like this in my entire life.
Yeah.
And there was one point in the movie, and I did not do it, but I felt like tears welling on because I didn't know what to do. And I've never had that experience in a movie, and it wouldn't let me out. There's tension right from the very beginning.
From the beginning,
all the way to the end.
Yeah.
But the movie ramps up, and I don't want to talk about it.
Well,
it took me to a place. It took you to a place. We were in a press screening. Everybody in the entire press screening.
It's shocking.
Nobody knew what to do.
It's shocking, and it's allegorical, and it's about, you know, something a lot more than what is presented as a.
Can you explain it to me, Vic? I did not.
Well,
get
I don't want to ruin it because
Yeah,
I think it's an experiential thing, but it's incredibly visceral. It's incredibly powerful, and I think everybody's going to walk out.
Interpret it their own ways.
And it's going to create a lot of conversation. And the one thing that I will say, and you hit this on the head, it is incredibly uncomfortable. It's framed with incredible tight shots on Jennifer Lawrence, and she's kind of our conduit through all of this, you know, crazy stuff that happens that is so uncomfortable and so, you know, out of nowhere and kind of non-believable, but it's crafted in such
a brilliant way that you can kind of believe it.
Yeah, you're just along on this fictional ride and you're like, okay, I guess this is happening. I don't know why it's happening, but it's happening.
It's another one of those movies where you want everything just to go back to normal, and a little bit of peace and quiet, bring back some happiness in, and the movie will not let that happen. In fact, we can't say it, and it's hard to talk about this with no spoilers, and we're not gonna. But it just goes in a direction that I've never seen any movie go in.
Well, what I will say is that I think that this is a personal film for Darren Aronofsky, and I think that he is probably grappling with some heavy personal issues around creativity, and and the creative process and birthing things. And I think he's presenting, you know, a sort of an analogy or some kind of cinematic and kind of interpretation.
There is some interpretation of something.
Yes.
And I think everybody's going to take something different, as we said.
Absolutely.
I was sitting at one point, and I am saying this again. The tears were welling up. I'm like, stop it.
Right.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop. And it went on for like 4. I mean,
it doesn't end.
It doesn't end.
Yeah.
It's
no.
hard.
It is like it's like. The movie is pushing against you, and it has a force, and it just will not. It's a relentlessness, and you're just sort of taking it. It's unbearable. Some of the stuff.
It's unbearable.
Yes, but it's also impossible to ignore. I sat like this, straight up for the whole picture, just on the edge of my seat, just like tension. And you think from the marketing and from the the B-roll and stuff that we're going to show you, that's just going to be like a horror movie.
No.
It's not a horror movie, you know? Like, the one thing that we can say is that there's horrific stuff in this, but this is not a conventional horror movie in any sense of the word.
You know, a movie like it was as scary and had jump scares and all that. This movie doesn't have that. It just has intensity, and it builds
This
upon,
was scarier to me than it was.
Scary. Oh.
Right? Because
I love it when you said your hand on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God, and you couldn't look away. You couldn't look away. You were never bored.
I mean,
just were like,
and that's part of the brilliance. I mean, Aronofsky has, you know, played in the playground of auteurs like Kubrick with the films that he's made in the past. He obviously has, you know, things that he wants to say with his own cinematic interpretation, his own cinematic vision, his you know, the language that he crafts for his filmmaking. He does sprinkle in visual effects in a very interesting way, but really it's about getting incredible performances like we saw with Natalie Portman in Black Swan that shock you. And there is so much shocking stuff in this thing. And Javier Bardem, I mean, what a player this guy is.
He is amazing.
He is fantastic. And you know, also we talk about this this idea of chameleon-like performances. This guy, from playing the villain in movies, big movies like Skyfall and Pirates of the Caribbean, and then, you know, he sort of gets transposed into these different character portraits, and he's incredible, riveting in this. But then we also get this delightful surprise of Michelle Pfeiffer popping up.
Ed Harris?
Ed Harris I love. He's
always been great.
He was just amazing in Westworld as well. But Michelle Pfeiffer, she took a long break from being in movies and things. I don't know, man. Like, she really means something to me. I love Michelle Pfeiffer. Not just because she's this beautiful woman, but she's so goddamn talented, so competent, so much energy, so much force on screen. And the minute she comes on screen, it's like another level is raised in this picture. You know?
Then the movie takes you in such a different direction that beginning bit with her felt like, you know, hours had gone by.
Yes.
And we can't talk
again.
Right.
And then she disappears for sort of story reasons in the movie. Yeah. And then it feels like another 9 movies.
Oh, no, like another 9? Listen to this. It felt like another 150 different movies and emotions that you've never felt before, you've never seen. And Jennifer Lawrence does a really great job playing an innocent girl, trying to keep it all together, trying to keep all of this together, and trying to hang on and hang on and hang on.
Right, and also I think conveying somewhat of a twisted interpretation of what motherhood must feel like, especially today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but see, this is your interpretation.
It's my interpretation, yes.
I took something even more different from it.
This is a crazy movie. I don't know how it's going to make its money back.
How
who wants to go see this, and who's going to, like, what are people going to say? But all I can say is, if you're taking the time to watch this review, get the hell out and go see this goddamn thing, because, you know, like, try something out that's going to, you know, screw you up a little bit, and you're going to talk
People
about.
People are always complaining, it's the same, we're complaining, the same old movies over and over and over again, and then this movie comes along. It feels like a very independent movie. Just takes such risks.
Well, it's like Requiem for a Dream. We'll forget that movie, right? Like,
no, you'll always remember. That's burned into my conscious forever.
Wasn't a great time.
No, it wasn't. And this isn't a great time, but it's a memorable movie. I'll never forget this movie. Ever. I'll never ever forget this experience.
Based on that virtue exclusively alone, I am heartily recommending people go out and see this thing and have these discussions. It's not going to make you feel good.
And it's not for everybody. Some people are going to, I'm serious, but some people are going to be offended by this movie.
And there's absolutely, I was.
Yeah, I was.
I think that was the intent. But go see it. Because we need to support art. And we need to support artists like Darren Aronofsky, you know, and every actor that contributed to this thing. Because there are some, like, spectacular, supporting roles and cameo appearances in here, actors that you've seen in lots of other things, clearly supporting an auteur, clearly supporting a guy.
The direction in this movie is beyond reality.
Yes.
Just from a directing point of view, scene for scene, the emotion just flows all through the movie.
It's so good.
It is brilliant. I could spend hours just talking about the setup, the writing of the script, and directing, and oh my god, the cinematography.
A lot that I think you probably hated and me hated about experiencing this, but unforgettable.
Unforgettable.
And powerful and moving
emotional.
Hard to talk about, hard not to talk about.
And it's really, and you know, we talk about it a lot of times. Some movies you need to see in the theater.
Yeah.
This is one movie you need to see in the theater.
Yes.
Watching this at home, I think, will diminish it a lot.
Absolutely, yes.
But being in that theater and you cannot escape.
Well, and it's beautifully composed as well. Even it's handheld and it's super tight and it makes you uncomfortable.
Very silent most times.
I didn't hear. I was thinking about that. The soundtrack. I don't even know if they had a musical soundtrack. I can't remember it.
All I remember is the intensity.
Yeah.
Isn't that brilliant? Yeah. What an amazing film.
I mean, I think we're painting a picture here. You got to go see this.
Yeah,
thing.
this is fucked.
But you're not gonna believe what you're seeing.
You
right?
won't believe it. We can't even tell you. You won't believe it until you see this movie.
We got to score it though. What are you gonna give it?
Oh my God, this is the hardest movie
I know.
in Film Fury history to ever score.
I agree with you.
And I'm gonna take a real gamble and say an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm there too. I'm between an 8 and a 9, so I'm saying an 8.5 as well. But holy crap, I think this has to come with a disclaimer. May not be for everyone, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
If you are inspired by filmmakers like Darren Aronofsky, you know you can learn to be a filmmaker yourself with the one-year program at VFS. Go to VFS.edu for more info.